Well, we got another week of huge spreads among the top teams in the country. Look at Georgia favored by 45, Bama favored by 40. Last week, the top four teams won by an average of 53 points per game. And all four this week, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, are all 3+ score favorites this week as well, though Ohio State does play Wisconsin, and Michigan plays a 3-0 Maryland team, Talia Tagovailoa. But Clemson at number 5, they're actually going to get a test, it looks like. They're at Wake Forest as a touchdown favorite. All right, let's get Emory Hunt in here from Sportsline. He's got some early leans ahead of Week 4 in college football. Let's start with Indiana. Emory, I know as a Group of 5 guy, you were watching that. Indiana was dead in the water against Western Kentucky at home. They come back and somehow pull out a miraculous victory in overtime. Now they're getting 17.5 at Cincinnati.
They was dead in the water against Illinois as well, and they came back. So that's why I don't understand this line of 17.5. One, it's a rivalry game. Two, Indiana's offense can score essentially whenever they decide to wake up and score. Now, I worry about their defense giving up the big play, but they tend to be opportunistic when the offense turns it on and starts to come back. So I see this game being very close, at least going by the trend of what Indiana has done all throughout the season. So I would lean or take Indiana in the points here because I think the Hoosiers, behind Connor Baszler and what he does throwing the football, they get locked in the fourth quarter, and I love seeing it.
All right, from Bloomington, Indiana to South Bend, Indiana, and Notre Dame picked up its first win of the season against California this past weekend. They are taking on North Carolina this week, and Notre Dame is a 1-point favorite in Chapel Hill.
Listen, I know they got their first win for Marcus Freeman. Great job. One of many to come for him. But they beat Cal, and all of a sudden Notre Dame is back to getting this overrated respect where they come into this ball game against a red-hot offense as favorites. No, you look at what Drake May has done throwing the football and also with his legs as well, and they do have a tremendous depth in the backfield. I think their defense will start to get it into gear as the season goes on. They're coming off of a bye week. I do like North Carolina in this spot. 1 point right now, you better grab it while it's value because I can see them swinging this back toward them being favorites by the time this game kicks off.
All right, so you like North Carolina. That would be 1-3 start for the Fighting Irish. Yikes. Let's move on to the Oregon Ducks, who had a great performance this past weekend. Put that Georgia loss behind them. Washington State flying under the radar. They had a big win at Wisconsin earlier on this season. The Ducks are given 6.5 points here, and this is in the Palouse at Washington State.
Yeah, since the spring, I've been on this show telling people about Cam Ward coming from Incarnate Word. He makes them a formidable threat in the Pac-12. But what has been the true story outside of him being great like he was at the FCS level, their defense is excellent. So this one, again, seems like a lot of points because you look at Bo Nix, and Bo Nix is playing on the road and not playing at home. It's a different Bo Nix. Bo Nix versus this very good defense that did a great job against Braylon Allen and company out there at Wisconsin. I think we'll see them turn it up a notch here in the Pac-12 game. So I think we look at a very close one. Take Washington State in the points. Cam Ward is the better quarterback here and gives them a fighting chance in this game against the Ducks.
We're looking ahead at early lines for Week 4 in college football, and a really interesting matchup. It always is between A&M and Arkansas at Jerry World. It always seems to be wacky and wild, and this is an interesting spread because you have Arkansas, a top 10 team. Man, they had to come back. I think they were down 17 points to Missouri State and Bobby Petrino at home. And Texas A&M coming off a victory against Miami where, yeah, they bounced back and won, but they haven't been able to do much of anything offensively. Scored just 17 points in that game.
Yeah, and A&M doesn't have a quarterback like Jason Shelley, who plays for Missouri State, and Bobby Petrino coaching up the quarterbacks that he has been a tremendous success under his tenure. But when you look at A&M and Arkansas, we saw this game last year, and I think is going to follow the same script. KJ Jefferson is a +1, a force multiplier at the position. He's someone that's going to make this game tilt in favor of the Razorbacks. I find it comical that they come in as underdogs versus A&M. A&M is getting that same overrated after a win love that Notre Dame gets. So I look at this Arkansas defense getting a reality check. Maybe you can say Arkansas sort of overlooked the 5th-ranked FCS team in the country, Missouri State, and looking ahead to this game against A&M. That won't happen. They'll come in ready to go, prepared. They got their scare last week look for them to take care of business here against the Aggies.
All right, Emory, late night on Saturday. They're kicking off just after 10 Eastern time out there in Provo. BYU hosting Wyoming. And it's a big number. Wyoming is getting more than 3 touchdowns here, and they're coming off a really big win. They upset Air Force last week.
Yeah, they upset Air Force last week, and it was another spread. Air Force was 17.5-point favorites. And what Wyoming does and has done under Craig Bowl, they love to muck it up. They'll bring you down to their level, and they'll make you play a sloppy game. And that sloppy game, for this particular purpose, will keep it a lot closer than that 17-point spread. So even though I like that BYU is going to get their chance at redemption and get back on a winning track, but this spread is too big for this football team coached by that guy and how well they play. And plus, these two used to be rivals in the old WAC conference in Mountain West, and now they get back on the field again. So I think this will be a lot closer. Fun, entertaining game, but an ugly one at that. So take Wyoming in the points here.
Love looking ahead to Saturday on Monday. It makes it feel like it's just around the corner. Emory Hunt giving us some sports line picks for Week 4 college football lines and some games that are a little bit under the radar. Indiana plus 17 or 17.5 at Cincinnati, depending on where you find it. He likes North Carolina plus the 1 at home against Notre Dame. Wazoo, give them those 6.5 points at home against Oregon. Arkansas, give them those 2.5 points against Texas A&M. And well, he's all over the dogs. Wyoming plus 22.5 at BYU.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.